Welcome to Art with Dianne Mahaffee. Hopefully you have viewed all the previous watercolor lessons which taught the 6 training paintings. The lessons not only taught techniques, information, and vocabulary, they also gave you practice opportunities and confidence. Now, I would like for you to take this confidence and try some watercolor paintings on your own. So create unique works of art and feel free to experiment. As you start on your watercolor journey, I will give you 5 ideas. Number 1, a bird painting of your choice. Number 2, a floral of your choice. Number 3, a still life of your choice. Number 4, a landscape which includes a building. Number 5, an animal painting of your choice. Now I'm going to give you a tip. Make sure all of your watercolor paintings have that watercolor look. You don't want them to look like a pastel or an acrylic or an oil or a colored pencil. Keep that unique watercolor look that's so beautiful and fresh and lively. In conclusion, I will give you a few technique demonstrations right now that you may need, so get ready to learn something new. Alright, as you know, and I've talked about before, you don't use white paint when you paint with watercolor. You want to use white in other ways, like save the white of your paper. So the first thing you're going to do to show you this demonstration, last night, to make sure this was dry, I painted some blue, but I want to show you that you can get a razor blade and scratch off your whites. You can use anything like these tools. Alright, you lay it to the side and you can scratch your whites. And you can do that over on water or anything to make it glimmer. Sometimes if you do an eye, let's just pretend this is a cat's eye, you can come back in. Now see how there's no highlight? Say you forgot to put a highlight. You can come back in, add the highlight by scratching. And there it goes. It came to life. It made it lively. So scratching out your whites can be very helpful. Alright, another way is to lift your whites. Lifting whites. Alright, when I do that, I like to have a brush that's really rough, like an old acrylic brush or an old oil painting brush. Something rough. And so this is blue and it's dry. And let's just say I need to come back and do some whites. I will get a Kleenex in one hand, this wet, scruffy brush, and just come in like this and go down and up. And look how I lifted out the whites. And you can do some more. Make it even whiter. So, that's one way. You can lighten it a little bit or a lot. Lifting whites. Alright, another thing you can do when you want to achieve whites. This is a China marker. China marker. You've seen them before probably. They have a string right here. Well, you would be surprised how much this can help you save your whites. I did a white running fence in a horse pasture one time, and I used this for my fence in the distance. But I'm going to just make some marks on here. Alright, and let's see what happens. Wet my brush. Get some blues. Look at that. Pops out. It resists the paint. It's amazing. And it's pointy. Alright, another thing. Oil pastel. Alright, when you use oil pastel with watercolor, Don't get the type that says water-soluble oil pastel. They just started making those in the last 5 years. They just get the regular oil pastel. Just make sure it doesn't say water-soluble. Alright, I'm going to get a white and make some marks. Let's put some paint on that. Pops right out. Okay, so that's another way. It resists the watercolor paint too. Alright, another one I was going to show you to save the whites is Frisket. It's sometimes called Misket, but Frisket is the most common term. My Frisket is at USCL in my classroom, and the building's locked up because of COVID, and I was not able to find any here in my studio because I took mine there. So I'm sorry. I'll have to show you that maybe some other day. Alright, but let's go over here to oil pastel with daisies. Alright, you may be wondering how you could do something like this. The dewdrop is like a dewy morning of mist with Shasta daisies. So I'm going to show you. Alright, you just get, let's do the center first. Alright, I'm going to make the center, kind of make it ovaloid. Something like that. Then I'll put a little bit of kind of brown down here, dotted on. Just maybe a touch of orange for the center. Alright, then I'm going to get the white and make some petals. Alright, they're just long ovals. Fill it in. Fill it in. You probably, you will think, oh, I can't even see what I'm doing. But if the light's to the side, you can. Make these smaller on this side because they're foreshortened away from the viewer. And I'll put a few more bigger ones right here. They're ovals, and they're a little smaller as they go to the center. And I think I will put on just a little stem and a little bit of green. Alright, that's all I need to do. Alright, let's wet that. Let's prime right over there. That's what I did here. After I got all my daisies done, I primed over the whole thing while the whole thing was wet. Isn't that fun? How exciting that is. I mean, even a 5-year-old could do that, and it's so much fun. Alright, so there's another thing I want to show you about leaving veins, or about doing leaves in general and leaving veins. Alright, I'm going to prime some leaf shapes. Alright, here's one. Make it pointy. I'm going to do one this way that kind of wiggles over there, and one here. Alright, now I'm going to put some yellow on them. When I do leaves, I like to add yellow as kind of a base coat for it. Alright, after you add some yellow, then instead of going to green, I like to go to blue. And of course it turns kind of greenish because it's on top of that yellow. And then not only do you do that, but go back, go find a paintbrush, and I'm sure you've got one that looks like this on the bottom of it. That's for making veins, if you've ever wondered what it is for. So scratch in some veins, and they'll come back in a few minutes and look really beautiful. Because it's making little ditches and the paint's flowing into the ditch. if that makes any sense. Alright, and it'll take it a few minutes, but it'll really look beautiful when you get that done. Alright, so that's what that's for. It's for scratching in textures and details, and especially veins and leaves. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to make, these are a few tricks here, but I'm going to show you how to make a sky using a balled up Kleenex. And it does not work with paper towel or toilet tissue or anything but Kleenex, like so. This is going to be a real quick trick to show you how a beginner watercolor student can make clouds. There's so many different ways to make clouds, and I don't always use this method for all my paintings when I'm making clouds, but I like to teach it because it's a good thing to do at first when you're first learning to handle watercolor. Alright, I've got one layer on. Alright, I'm ready to prime that. I mean, not to prime it, but to add some paint to the primed sky, because I put my 2 layers of water on. Alright, spread it out, bring it down. I'm using watercolor paper. This feels like about 90-pound watercolor paper for the sheet. That means it weighs 90 pounds for a pack of it. A big pack. A ring. Alright, so I'll add, just because I can, I'll add a little bit of brown, just to gray it a little bit. And get some various values. Alright, a little bit more brown over here so it'll be kind of balanced out. Alright, and just let it flow. But while it's wet, while it's very wet, then pick up one tissue, ball it up into a ball, and roll it. And lift. And then pat maybe out a little point. Okay? Get another clean one. Ball it up. I'll put one a little bit lower. Roll it. And it makes all these nice little textures. Alright, so there it shows you how to make some clouds. And you can get lighter clouds, darker clouds. Also, it's fun. And it works. Number 1, a bird painting. This is a bird painting that I did. So you do any kind of bird. Any kind of bird. Alright? Floral painting. That would mean any kind of flower. So these are just some simple beginner level petunias. And look, you can see where I made the veins with the back of that brush. Left some whites. Number 3, still life painting. That means still objects. This is a still life I did in France of the table that was spread before all of us. Before we ate, I thought, wow, this will make a good painting. So I took some pictures and did a little sketch before we did away with the food. And I remember eating the couscous and thinking, oh, this is really delicious. I did not like the eyes in my shrimp. I did not eat those. But anyway, I had so much fun doing the still life. Still life, that could be a guitar, boots, fruit on a table, vases. Number 4, landscape with building. Put some type of building in there. This is one I did with a couple buildings. One in the distance and a barn. And you see all kind of textures. You see foreground, middle ground, background. Keep that in mind when you're doing your landscape. And finally, another painting idea. Number 5, animal painting. I chose to do a pug, but you could do anything, a goat, horse, cat, raccoon, peacock. Do some type of animal painting and you will be on your way. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching Art with Dianne Mahaffee, and visit my website www.artwithdianne.com. Thank you for watching.